Hi, how we doing, folks? Your boy Marcos over here. What is this, Wasteland Wednesday? Oh, a little Black Ops Uno edition. I was rolling with some Black Ops Uno with my boy Who the other day. And we was like, yo, let's do some damage rocking the Commando right here. Oh, this game is so good. It's so good. There's at least, like a solid 2 to 3 times every, 2 weeks that I come back and play some Black Ops 1. I still got it, too. Fucks with me, I got it. You know what I'm saying? That's the same philosophy I bring over this, but we want to talk about, even though we're playing some of the past, we want to talk about the future. We want to talk about that Advanced Warfare that dropped. If you haven't checked out the trailer, make sure you check it out. It's just like every other Call of Duty trailer. Amazing. If there's one thing that Call of Duty does right, it's trailers, man. It is trailer. It is the best action-packed trailer you will ever see. One of my favorite reactions was I had a couple people over the other day, and I played it for them on the TV. I was like, yo, let me show you the trailer, man. And my house was watching too, and she was just like, "Is that a movie?" And I'm like, "Nah, it's not a movie. That's Call of Duty, dog. That's how we roll." Kevin Spacey's in it. Whatever. I don't really. It ain't really that big of a deal for me. I'm not that big of a movie guy. Or anything. He's apparently in House of Cards, which I mentioned a couple episodes ago that I don't watch, and that I wouldn't buy Netflix for that. But so it was kind of ironic when I saw him over there. But apparently he's amazing. Everyone's jaw dropping. The big thing about this drops November 4th on all platforms. The footage that they show in the trailer, they specifically said it was on Xbox One, which I found kind of interesting because normally they don't mention that. They just, it's kind of like just a computer, whatever that they do. And check out my 1, 2, 3 guys right here. I'm like, man, y'all are just gonna perish. So I found it kind of interesting that they said that. I think the main focus behind that, obviously, it's a marketing ploy. But it's kind of, I think you could pretty much expect that exclusivity of a month before, the DLC coming to Xbox is going to remain that way. Which is interesting how that's going to shape everybody when this new Call of Duty comes out, It's still going to be released in the previous generation, so we'll see how the sales go between one or the other. You're still not forced to buy a new system to play the next COD. I'm sure it's going to look great on that one. Not as good as this one, but probably as great as that one. It's developed next gen first, and then they're going to port it over. I expect something similar to what they did with Titanfall, where they kind of built the game for the next gen, and they grabbed some studio and was like, yo, listen, dog, you do what you can and do it good, and the other guys will do it good because they want to be called back again to do it. Takes place in the future. I think the year is like 2054 or 2050 or 2056 or something like that. I was reading. The trailer gets you ultimate hype. There's a ton of stuff over there, and obviously it's a single player trailer. You gotta remember this is for single player. And this video I'm doing right now is strictly talk about the single player parts of the game. On Friday I'll talk a little bit more about the multiplayer, which is just a ton of speculation because we don't got anything. When you look at these trailers, a lot of this stuff, like I remember the Black Ops 2 trailer, which was the only trailer I probably didn't like, honestly, and it's pretty ironic because it's one of my favorite games. But I didn't like it. I was kind of like, what is this stuff? Like, what is going on? There's a ton of futuristic stuff going in there that never quite happened. And not that it didn't happen in the single player, but it never happened in the multiplayer. It never got translated. So you got to make sure you make that distinguish over here. The main storyline, Kevin Spacey, his character, I don't remember his name, Aldon something. I was gonna say Aldon Smith, but he's a 49ers guy who's getting in trouble all the time. Whatever his name is. He leads a PMC, one of these private military corporations, which apparently now, they released and I talked about this I think in a previous video, they released like a trailer, like a real life trailer about where they got kind of the ideas for this and how that ties into where we are now and where that'll be. They had a group of futurists and stuff, whatever, to predict where that would be like in 20 or 2050, whatever. So they put a lot of research into that, and I always really appreciate that. It's something that Call of Duty always does. Going into, they make stuff that doesn't exist, but that might exist and a plausible future. And I always find that pretty nifty. It's a thin line right there between fries and shakes, and they're dancing around it. But he's leading over there, the Atlas Corporation. And he's the bad guy. He's the antagonist. We're not really sure much else about that. He doesn't seem the biggest fan of democracy. I guess he says it sucks like the whole time. Yeah, man. You're gonna be able to. The big thing that they release is the exoskeletons that you're wearing. Talk a little bit more about that. What I think that would do in the multiplayer aspect on Friday's video. So make sure you catch that. But in the single player video, just imagine what you're doing. You're basically making what you are, your human being, stronger. You're going to be able to make them faster. You're going to be stronger. Probably going to jump higher. And they also have like these gloves that could climb up walls. Not 100% sure if that would actually take place in the multiplayer, but definitely probably in the single player you'll have like a mission going in there, similar like you did in Modern Warfare 3. We came down with like the ice picks and stuff like that. There'll be set pieces. It'll be beautiful. It'll be gorgeous. Don't worry about the single player campaign. It's always good. It's always fun. But it is what it is. It's an action flick. It's an action flick that you get to play with. And if that's what you want, then this is the game for you. And this was definitely the game for me right here on Convoy. Deuces.